Remember this guy, Martin Shkreli, Pharma Bro? I'm going to talk about him in a second, but he has a lot to do with how we can lower medication prices in the United States. About 2 decades ago, if you were a patient needing Lipitor to help lower your risk of atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease, it was going to run you about $100 a month for daily treatment. But since the patent has expired and generics have become commercially available, it's going to cost patients roughly $2 a month for daily treatment. So that should show you how cheap it is to manufacture atorvastatin, Lipitor. So for about 15 to 20 years, Pfizer had a competitive advantage, a chokehold on the cholesterol-lowering medication market. It wasn't until the patent expired that competition was introduced and started lowering the price of atorvastatin. So competition is just one way that we can lower medication prices. Remember this guy, Martin Shkreli, hedge fund founder turned CEO of Turing Pharmaceuticals? Well, he's an example of another way that we can lower drug prices. So back in 2015, Martin Shkreli and Turing Pharmaceuticals bought the rights from another pharmaceutical company to the medication Daraprim, or the generic is pyrimethamine. It's a treatment option for toxoplasmosis. But in buying the rights to this medication in a completely unethical but legal fashion, they skyrocketed the price of the medication from $13.50 a tablet to $750 a tablet. It is important to note that at the time when Turing Pharmaceuticals bought Daraprim, there was no generic available. The patent did expire, but nobody else was manufacturing and distributing pyrimethamine. So this was strategically played by Martin Shkreli because he knew that he had full competitive advantage. So this leads to my second point of how we can lower medication prices. We can set a cap on how high medications can be priced. Typically, we've been leaving it up to the free market, so businesses can price their products as high as they would like or as low as they would like, and the market will be sure to balance that out accordingly. But when it comes to medications, it seems like there might need to be an exception. I'm not sure exactly what that would look like. Maybe there's some sort of legal step, some sort of ethical cost-benefit analysis. I'm not sure. This is just an option for lowering medication costs. Now, for this last point, I want you to take a look at your insurance cards if you have insurance, and you might notice one of these companies on those cards, and those are pharmacy benefit managers, and they quite simply do that. They manage your pharmacy benefits alongside your insurance company. And by manage your pharmacy benefits, what I really mean is that they formulate a long list of medications that they would prefer to pay for, as well as they negotiate contracts between pharmaceutical companies, pharmacies, and your insurance to make sure that the best price is being given to everybody. So the last point I'm going to make is quite literally negotiating medication prices. All within this network of people trying to get medication to the patient for the proper price, there are negotiations going on. However, for the patient, there are no negotiations. Typically, people in the United States either have an employer-provided health insurance plan or they have Medicare and Medicaid. So in both of those instances, which are the most cost-effective instances that we have, you're either relying on a private company that's trading in the S&P 500 in the top 50 companies, or you're relying on the federal government and state governments that are already in tons of debt pleading to try and get lower drug prices. So I don't know. I'm just a pharmacist. I would just like to see some lower drug prices. You can let me know what you think would help lower medication prices.